One thing that was just really neat, we both had purpose in our hearts to save our first kiss for the wedding day. And a lot of people were like, okay, Jed, I had people at the car a lot that come over all the time. And as they get to know me, we'll talk about, they get to know Katey or something like that. And like, so you guys, how did y'all meet? Ask those questions or different things. And they're always amazed. How in the world did you save your first kiss? For us, it was the most special thing, saving our first kiss. And yeah. I still remember that first kiss, and I remember it for the rest of my life.
Hey everyone, it's Katey from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tuesday, August. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's Tuesday, August 23rd. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I have been very busy today and I'm just getting in here to film. It's 5 o'clock and I'm just sitting down to film. Oh my goodness. I literally just finished putting my makeup on. Do you ever have a day where everything is really late? Yeah, that was my day today. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Yesterday, Mr. Jed Duggar and Katey put out their love story, which you guys I didn't know about. Well, I mean, we kind of knew about it. But they talked about how they first met and how they fell in love and all that good stuff. Poor Katey had a huge bruise on her nose, and I kept thinking about how she has a little baby. Did any of you guys, any of you ladies, when you were, or men, any of you out there, when you had a baby, did you ever get bonked in the nose by the headbutt of the baby when they're like kind of unstable and they just like bonk you in the nose? Did any of you have a bruise on your nose, either from a headbutt from the baby or a toy thrown at your nose? I did. And when I saw the bruise on her nose, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if the baby headbutt her. Poor Katey. Anyway, she looks great. She had the baby and everything's great. But anyways, in their love story, this story, remember how I told you that their relationship appeared to be kind of staged or set up or whatever it is, and it was sort of arranged by the dads? Well, I think in a roundabout way, they kind of confirmed that, even though they didn't, and they definitely used very strict guidelines in this process, which I thought was interesting. And I'm not going to go into the whole 20 minutes because I don't have time for that. And you're not here to watch their video. You come to me for the recaps, right? So first off, I'm not here to shade, to say anything negative about them. I'm just here to tell you what they said. And I obviously do not want you to send them hate for my opinions, okay? Or for my commentary. We always want to just be respectful. So in their video, they talked about how they met at a camp, I'm assuming probably for the IBLP. And then it was a while later and they sort of like crossed paths, and later Jim Bob decided that he was going to go buy a huge bus, and it was in Arizona. And so he and Jeremiah and Jed went there, and Jed went only because the only people they knew in Arizona at the time were the Nakatsus, and so they were going to go hang out with the Nakatsus while they were there. And apparently they didn't really get to interact that much, and apparently Ginger also came in and spent some time with Katey. So that event didn't really land them into whether or not they were actually going to be husband and wife. So not long after that, Jed says that he is still praying about it and thinking about what he's going to do. And, Katey got merch from him. Yeah, he gave her a hat for his campaign, and she wore that a couple times. And she said that she really liked him, but she wasn't really sure as well. Well, apparently at some point he decides to reach out to Katey's dad, and he and Katey's dad, they date. Yep, that's right. So Katey's dad, whose name is Corey, and Jed basically dated for 6 months, and they talked on the phone and got to know each other and became friends. So he basically got to know Katey's family first before he even had a chance to speak to Katey. This is super standard in the IBLP and super standard in the courting process, and very equivalent to what Jeremy Volo went through when he tried to get with Miss Ginger.
Be like, I mean, what do you say?
And
I'm
we
just
weren't
glad
close.
I didn't have to
I
do
will
that.
say we weren't close to each other. She's in Arizona and I'm in Arkansas.
So it was kind of like a, hey, I want to
Long
get to know
ways.
your family, and then like if God's leading in this way, I want to get to know Katey, but like you didn't want to just jump.
No, and so we actually, him and I we kind of stayed friends for a while. We talked.
They would talk, and the thing was, my dad knew I would talk to him, and he knew how I felt about Jed. So it wasn't like he was just, talking to this guy, and I was like, no, he knew that I really liked Jed. So like they were talking, and it was a good season for me to just be able to focus on things like I had some ministry things I was doing that summer and whatnot,
Ginger.
and so that was.
So then, check this out. Katey was liking him, and she didn't really even know what was going on with her dad. And she describes her dad and Jed getting to know each other for her as a great experience because she could focus on other things in her life. So by the time her dad expresses to her that he thinks that Jed might be the one for her, which she describes as God sort of moving their direction for her and that he might be the one, and do you want to pursue this kind of thing, she decides to go for it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really cool just getting to know Corey as a good friend. And then from there, it was not but, long afterward that Katey and I started talking.
Yeah. Which to
And-
me, like when my dad said, hey, I've been talking to Jed, and, I really think God's leading in this way. Like, what do you think about this? And we were talking about it. For me, it was like a no-brainer because all those months I had been thinking and praying and hoping that something would happen, but like being prepared for it to not happen. And so when
Jed actually stops the video at this point and says that at this point he wasn't even sure if Katey was the one. He just wanted to talk to her. And he didn't know if he wanted to court her or just date her or pre-court her by the time he actually spoke to her. So this is where I think it's interesting.
I really knew that
I don't
God
think
was
I
leading
was
it.
ready either at that spot. I was trying to just figure out, okay, do I want to start, courting or dating this girl? I didn't know. And so I was like, I just want to become friends, get to know them. So after we started talking, it was like God just started making clear in my life, okay, Jed, this is the one that I have for you. And it took a while for us just of talking, getting to know each other.
We started from like ground zero. We didn't know each other at all. And
Katey's dad believed that Jed was the one for her. And then Jed's like, I don't even know if she's the one for me. I just wanted to talk to her. And then he said it became evident as they talked to each other over time that it was the one for her, that she was the one for him. So apparently, because she lived in Arizona and he lived in Arkansas, the majority of their relationship was over FaceTime, and they only saw each other about once a month. And online, they said that their relationship had spanned about 1.5 years, and that might have been true in that they met 1.5 years before they got married, but their actual relationship was 7 months. Yeah. And she said they saw each other once a month, basically, for 6 months until they got engaged. So they basically spent they got together 6 times before they decided to get engaged and spent a lot of time on the phone and connecting that way, I guess. And they were convinced by the time February rolled around. So they started finally talking in August of 2020. And then by August of 2020, and by February of 2021, they decided to get engaged. And then they just decided that they were going to get married really, really fast. So they got married within 6 weeks. They discussed that during their courtship, they also saved their first kiss. And Jed said that, he doesn't regret that. And then they went on to sort of this diatribe about how they made boundaries and set up boundaries for themselves. And their parents, by the way, didn't make them set up these boundaries. And they crossed lines sometimes, and they had to, confess to God.
We just
but then they also
we literally sat down on a couch and talked about it.
And it wasn't something our parents said, hey, you guys do this. It was something, and we chose our rules. And was it hard to stick to them? Yes. Did we stick to them 100%? No. Was there times where we had to go before God and say, God, forgive us for this or that?
And some of those times were the most special times. I look back, there were quite a few times where we had our little rules that we had made for ourselves and things just to out of protection, not out of legality or oh, we're gonna please God more if we do this or whatever. But it was we wanted to be just extra careful. Both of us have as like our top love language physical touch. And so we were like, let's be really careful.
touch.
But then they also said that they saved their first kiss for their wedding day. So I don't really know what lines they crossed, whether maybe it was holding hands too long or, I mean, can you do other things and not kiss? You know what I'm saying? Like, could you be like, well, we're not going to kiss, but we're going to pet? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure out what lines they might have crossed where they felt like they had to confess to God. Now, this is fundamentalism, so it could have been just like maybe they were sitting too close to each other. I don't really know. But they had some struggles with staying chaste, I guess. And they saved the first kiss for their wedding day, apparently. And they don't regret that. And, you know, the interesting thing here for me is that Jed was definitely like trying to, at the very end of the video, sort of push and minister to people, very IVLP. You know, if you know, for us, this is what we did, and for you, it's totally fine. He even said that if other people don't decide to like kiss, if they don't wait to kiss until their wedding day, it's fine. And he understands that some people don't wait, and that's fine. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of a progressive stance for the Duggars. And then the other part of me was like, well, knowing how the Duggar boys are, I don't really know if I even believe this, because I just have to say this. Joseph Duggar went on to TLC and he freaking lied. And he said that he had never kissed a girl before and that Kendra and him saved all of that for their wedding day. But Kendra wasn't his first kiss. He kissed Carlin Bates before he ever was married and in with Kendra. And Jed actually dated Kendra too. So I'm just trying to figure out if they actually are just, if this is just like what they say and if this is true, because I know full well that the Duggars will stretch the truth sometimes, because Joseph flat out said, yeah, it was a wonderful experience, our first kiss, but he completely left out the fact that he and Carlin kissed. You know what I mean? So, and he's never even admitted that publicly. That's just like literally known by, allegedly by all the fundies, and has been long known for years. So I don't know if I actually believe that they didn't kiss, but maybe they did. I don't know if I believe that it was Jed's first kiss either. Like he said, they saved their first kiss until their wedding day. I don't know if that was actually Jed's first kiss either. I don't know. The Duggars also pretended like Josh was chaste as well, and we know that wasn't true either. So it's always hard for me to believe. I believe Katey. I do believe Katey. I just don't know if I believe Jed. Does that make sense? Like, there's something about Katey where I feel like she's just not a liar. I feel like Katey can't even like go along with what Jed says about things. Like, she doesn't know the fundy language, and their upbringings were so different. You know, Jed pointed out that she grew up with only, you know, one sibling, and then she had two half siblings and a divorced home, and he came from a family of 19, so they had to really build their relationship from the ground up, and because she didn't have familiarness with large families, I guess. So a couple takeaways for me are they barely knew each other. Jed actually dated his dad, the dad. So this is actually pretty standard in the IVLP when it comes to courting. One thing that they do in the courting world is that, and this is why I want to just explain this to you at the very end of this to give you an understanding. I've spoken to a lot of people that went through courting, and I've seen the courting like rule books and stuff in the IBLP. And typically what it happens is a boy will approach the family of a girl and let them know. First, the boy will approach their parents and let them know that they're interested in the girl. Then the dad will approach the other person's dad and they talk about it. Then the boy will approach the dad of the girl and then they talk. And then once the dad of that girl decides that it's okay to go, the boy has talked to his parents and prayed. The two parents have gotten together and prayed. The boys then talk to the parents that prayed. And so by the time the boy gets to even see the girl, all these prayers have been made and they've all decided that this is God's choice. So by the time the girl even gets involved, she's told it's God's plan. And that's pretty much what she confirmed. And she said it was fine because she really liked Jed. So for her, it was fine. She said she liked Jed and she was interested in him regardless. So I guess in that respect, it worked out. But the involvement of her dad is very similar to the involvement of Jim Bob when it comes to his daughters. And it reminds me of their wedding day when basically Corey said that Katey allowed him to pick the spouse for her. And that's exactly what he did. He picked Jed. So long story short, they had a very traditional IBLP courting relationship and marriage, and they got married very quickly. They actually were only together for 7 months by the time they got married. So pretty fast for the fundy world. And online, the Duggars said that it had been a year and a half. So a little bit of a lie there. They stretched the truth. They might have met, and it might have been a year and a half from the time they met, but they definitely weren't dating for that long. And because of long distance, they didn't really know each other. So can you imagine what a growing experience it must be for them? I always think about this. Like if you're a fundamentalist and you were in a relationship like this and you left fundamentalism, can you share with me, like, did you stay in the marriage that you were in after you left fundamentalism? So if you had an arrangement like similar to what happened with Katey and Jed, when you left fundamentalism, did you stay married to that person or did you divorce your spouse? I've heard some people stay and other people divorce. And what was that experience like? Was it similar to what Katey and Jed went through? And do you agree with some of the things that they said? And are you shocked by any of this or not? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.